NBC7 News at 11 begins with breaking news.
Hands up! Don't shoot! Hands up! Don't shoot! Hands up! Don't shoot!
Day 2, unrest and demands for change. Hundreds of San Diegans try to shut down Interstate 15, protesting the decision not to charge a white police officer in the death of a black teenager.
Could easily have been me.
I got a 16-year-old and an 18-year-old, and I don't want them to be the next victim.
And tonight, Officer Darren Wilson says he had no other choice but to shoot 18-year-old Michael Brown, saying he did his job right.
Despite what Officer Wilson is saying, though, as you've seen, many people across the country are outraged. They are taking to the streets, and they did it as soon as night fell.
Here in San Diego, 3 major protest scenes late tonight, one group even trying to stop traffic on the 15. We have complete coverage of demonstrations and begin with NBC7's Stephen Luke, who is live in City Heights. Steve.
Mark and Catherine were at the corner of Fairmount and University in City Heights, and you can see behind me a group of police officers just sort of standing by at the moment. A very quiet scene in stark contrast to what we saw between 9 and 10 o'clock here tonight at this very same intersection. I don't know if you saw it, but that was actually a soda can getting launched towards police, just missing my photographer. Between 100 and 200 protesters blocking traffic on University Avenue through City Heights. Police formed a blockade of about 30 to 40 officers wide. They just started systematically pushing the protesters back in an effort to regain control of the neighborhood. The confrontation resulted in 4 arrests, according to police. These were all people who refused to obey orders to move back as those officers moved forward. Police say the protest was supposed to be confined to the park down the street, and it became quite clear this wasn't happening. Well, from all we can gather, this is the point as we move down to Interstate 15 where things really started to escalate tonight. Yes, the protest moved down onto Interstate 15, a large group making their way down to the freeway, and they actually started blocking traffic at one point. Police and the CHP obviously moved in quickly to deal with the situation, and you've already seen what happened next. I should mention the night started off around 6:30 with a spirited but peaceful protest as police blocked traffic for the protesters. There was a cross-section of ages and skin colors, and we spoke with a few of those involved in the march.
You know, San Diego's voicing their opinions without tearing up the city, you know, just to get their point across. It may not help, it may not mean a doggone thing, but every little bit counts.
Because it's showing community participation within this context of showing outrage against violence against people of color.
It's very important. Very important.
Hold on, babies. Don't tear up your place. We behind you. The world is behind you.
And I want to just bring your attention to one more thing here that stirred up a bit of controversy in the neighborhood. Where that protest was originally starting and ending at one point was a park. And you can see that there was sort of a big banner that was draped over the sign for that park, renaming it Michael Brown Park for the moment, obviously. But here's where the controversy sets in, is this park was actually named after San Diego police officer Jeremy Henwood. And that's what you would see if that sign was gone. Officer Henwood was gunned down in the line of duty in 2011. He was a Marine who served his country. You may remember him as the officer who bought a hamburger for a young boy in the neighborhood moments before he was gunned down. So as you can imagine, some very big emotions going on with what you just saw right there as well. Reporting from City Heights tonight, I'm Stephen Luke, NBC7.
All right, Steve, thanks very much. Check back if anything changes. Meanwhile, earlier tonight, demonstrators also gathered outside the downtown Federal Building. Dozens of people met at the corner of Broadway and Front Streets. They chanted asking for justice for Michael Brown. The group then marched through downtown.
Across the country tonight, protesters are also filling the streets. In Portland, Oregon, officers had to deploy tear gas at demonstrators. In Oakland, hundreds of marchers blocked Interstate 980. In one neighborhood, a fire was set across the street.
And further south in Los Angeles, protesters made their way onto the 101, stopping traffic for a while. But in Ferguson, Missouri, relative calm compared to last night's chaos as 2,200 National Guard troops stand ready to act. In fact, let's go to a live shot right now in Ferguson. And this quiet street scene is the best that authorities could hope. We mentioned the National Guard presence Essentially, Missouri Governor Jay Nixon sent in a really large contingent of extra National Guard troops, ordering the initial force of 700 to be increased to 2,200 in hopes that their presence would help local law enforcement. That and a lot of civic leaders coming out pleading for calm today at least seems to have made the trick.
But let's check in live now in Los Angeles, where throughout the evening, the 101 freeway has been shut down as protesters went onto the freeway. They've also been in downtown LA at Grand and Cesar Chavez Avenues, which have been blocked. And you can see right now police seeming to block the street right here as protesters continue to march through the streets here. They've been at LAPD headquarters as well, protesting, and it looks as though the march is moving along right through downtown LA at this point.
We're hearing from Officer Darren Wilson and the family of Michael Brown as well tonight.
In an interview with MSNBC, Michael Brown Sr. says the grand jury never got to hear about the good qualities of his son.
They crucified his character. For people that don't even know my son, they probably wish they did, because the things that they're saying is just, it's terrible. It's terrible.
When asked if the shooting would haunt him for the rest of his life, Officer Wilson told ABC News, quote, "I don't think it's a haunting. It's always going to be something that happened. The reason I have a clear conscience is because I know I did my job right."
Stay with NBC7 as we follow these breaking news stories unfolding across the country, California, and here in San Diego. We have people working in our newsroom right now, and we'll have the latest on NBC7 today, starting at 4:30 a.m. Also stay up to date on the latest with NBC7.com.
Now to some more breaking news right now in the North County. Fire crews are investigating a deadly house fire. One woman was killed and the people living next door had to evacuate. It started late tonight at a home in the 2000 block of Coringa Way. NBC7's Dave Summers has the latest.
Residents living next door are very sad for their neighbor, but anxious to get back in their own homes tonight. By most accounts, the woman who was killed in this fire could have been a victim of her own clutter. Firefighters describe the victim only as a woman in her late 70s. They're still attempting to notify relatives. The fire was reported just before 8 o'clock tonight. Firefighters say clutter blocked their entrance into the home, and once inside, they had a difficult time maneuvering around the debris. Firefighters found the woman non-responsive on the first floor. Despite efforts to revive the victim, she was pronounced dead here at the scene. Next-door neighbor Arlene Cooperson says she warned the victim that something like this could happen if she didn't clean up her place.
She's a hoarder. Things have to be done. They can't avoid them. The homeowners, every time I complain to them, they just slough me off. Well, that's not what you do. You have to take action.
Firefighters say that the damage is such that the residents in the 4 adjoining units won't likely be able to get back into their homes until tomorrow. The cause has not yet been determined. In Carlsbad, I'm Dave Summers.
Tonight, authorities are searching for a man last seen in a fake beard and a Santa hat. The FBI says he robbed the Chase Bank today on Loma Santa Fe and Solana Beach. It happened just after 2 o'clock. The FBI says he pointed a gun at the teller and demanded money. If you have any information on him, you are being asked to call police.
New tonight, Greek social activities at San Diego State are suspended indefinitely in light of several sexual assault-related incidents. Most recently, some fraternity members were accused of verbally harassing and throwing eggs at community members rallying against such violence. NBC7's Candace Wynn is at the university tonight. She joins us now with the latest. Candace.
Well, Catherine, it was actually the leaders of the Greek community right here at San Diego State University that announced that suspension. We just spoke to a woman who was part of that rally last week, and she says more needs to be done. She says the harassment wasn't even the worst part.
Then to find out that a sexual assault occurred the next day at that same block that we had marched through was very disturbing for a lot of us to find out.
Last Friday, Holly Hellerstedt joined 40 other community members to rally at San Diego State against sexual assault. It was in response to sexual assault cases at the university as well as attacks in North Park. She says her group passed by a row of houses hosting Greek parties when fraternity members shouted obscenities, threw eggs at them, and waved around inappropriate objects. A day after that incident, a woman reported being assaulted at one of those parties. Sunday, a woman said a group of men tried pulling her her into a car near campus. Greek leaders say if the rally harassment allegations are true, they are unacceptable. They say they will conduct training. Here's what SDSU's associate student president had to say.
It's going to be a process, but I'm absolutely confident that we're moving in the right direction. Should we be satisfied at where we're at right now? Absolutely not. But none of us are, and we're going to fight to get there. And I know that as fraternity men, as Greek leaders, it's on us to lead the charge.
Of course, actions speak louder than words, and it is about to be the winter break. So we really want to see what this looks like moving forward with SDSU, not even just these next 2 weeks.
Those community members say their efforts are not over. They are planning to have another rally in the coming weeks. Reporting live from San Diego State, Candace Twen, NBC7.
Thank you, Candace.
All right, let's check in with Dagmar, find out what's happening Thanksgiving weekend.
Well, we're still looking at the Santa Ana conditions. They will be leaving, but they will be leaving slowly. So the fire weather, the red flag warning is still in effect through 6 p.m. Now, the winds have calmed down nicely this evening, but you're still seeing some dangerous fire weather up in through San Diego County and in through the western portions of Riverside. Although much of the area to our north and northwest, that's been canceled, that red flag warning. So there's some good news there. We will continue to see very low humidity through tonight, through tomorrow, and still some gusty overnight and morning winds. We see that diurnal swing of the winds picking up again just around sunrise. So we're not quite done with those yet, even though it's very calm out there right now. So the fire weather continues. I'll be back in just a few moments. We're going to take a look at the rest of that forecast.
Still a lot to get to. A man who tried to escape police inside a California airport gets caught. The takedown captured on camera.
Plus, a new video game that you'd always want to win. How it was designed to take your real blood every time you got hurt in the cyber world.
Wow.
I know.
And we're following breaking news with protests across the country and California. The latest on that, a lot more coming up next. So as we follow breaking news, we want to check back now at what's happening in City Heights right now. It's a live shot right now. Some traffic there. We have seen, there we go, some. They're the protesters there in front. Good news to report in all of this is that no arrests have been made, and police are letting people just march through the streets and make their demonstration. No problems have been reported, though.
We want to give you another look now at Los Angeles, where we were seeing protesters go through the streets a bit earlier. They are still there in the middle of this intersection. You can see, if you look closely, the police officers around the area as well, and everything appears to be relatively peaceful at this point, but this has been going on all evening as protesters make their way through downtown LA, right there by Regal Cinemas, obviously, as they're trying to tell better exactly where this area is in Los Angeles. But it's been around the 101 freeway, and so now it's made, there's the Nokia Theater. Right. So that gives you a better idea exactly where this is happening right now in Los Angeles.
At least that's peaceful. The same cannot be said in Oakland, where just a short time ago we were watching demonstrators looting some stores, breaking into a T-Mobile store, busting the windows in other strip malls, and also setting some fires. It's hard to tell right now, but there's a small group of demonstrators right there. Hopefully they're beginning to, the police, get the upper hand and bring things under control. San Diego, though, has been looking good, as has Ferguson, Missouri, thanks to the presence of many National Guard troops that came in tonight to keep the peace.
And back here now in San Diego, a sad story today. We just checked, and the medical examiner still has not released the name of a landscaper who died while trimming a tree downtown this afternoon. The man was found in his harness in that palm tree. This was between 13th and 14th Streets near Broadway. Firefighters say several branches fell on him and trapped him.
New tonight, agents at the border have arrested a convicted sex offender who was previously deported to Mexico. Jose Murillo was taken into custody in Calexico after trying to cross back into the U.S. illegally. The 33-year-old was previously sent back home to Mexico after a 2010 conviction for sexual battery in Salt Lake City.
A woman in El Cajon has died from injuries she received a week ago when she was hit by an SUV while standing in line at a food bank. 74-year-old Teresa Nasser was one of more than 200 people in line last Tuesday when a woman lost control and drove into the crowd. She hit 3 people and pinned Nasser against that wall. The driver has not been cited for the accident.
A man who choked his girlfriend to death will spend the next 11 years behind bars. Martin Huey pleaded guilty in court today to the death of 22-year-old Angelica Gregory. Prosecutors say when the 23-year-old showed up to her Bay Terraces apartment in April, the couple began to argue. He later hit her in the face 2 times before strangling her.
A San Ysidro High School student is in the hospital recovering from meningococcal disease. County Health says only people close to the 17-year-old are in danger of being exposed. They've been notified. NBC7 talked to the principal of San Ysidro High, and he says the district is working on sending a letter home to parents tomorrow.
Tonight, new video from inside a California airport shows the moments a man accused of theft and trespassing is taken down by security. San Jose police say on Sunday, 39-year-old Miguel Zaragoza in the jacket illegally got onto the grounds of the San Jose airport. An airline employee called police, but before they arrived, the man took off and stole a maintenance worker's vehicle. Police finally caught up with him in Terminal B. By pure coincidence, I happened to be taking a flight out about 15 minutes right after that. The man did put up a bit of a struggle, but was eventually arrested, and it did not affect flights.
A new look tonight at just how bad our state's drought is. We have some video taken from a helicopter today over Lake Oroville in Northern California. The lake is nearing record low levels. At one point, the helicopter passes, you can see it right there, what appears to be a road that just ends in midair. It's a boat launch that's hanging over the edge, obviously well above the water level now.
A Navy corpsman and 2 Marines received great recognition today for their actions in Afghanistan. Petty Officer First Class Justin Wilson received the Navy Cross for his work there. 2 of his teammates died after 2 IEDs exploded at a checkpoint they were clearing in 2011. Staff Sergeant Christopher Diaz and Nicholas Shrutsov were presented the Bronze Star posthumously. Wilson today talked about their commitment to the team.
I'm talking about deep-seated commitment from God as servants, to be there and protect a brother, to never leave a man behind, no matter what could happen.
Petty Officer Wilson says he plans to continue serving in the Navy.
2 Minnesota men are facing terrorism charges tonight, accused of trying to help ISIS.
It is one of the stories making headlines around the country. One of the 2 men isn't large. He left on a flight back in May to the Middle East and never returned. The other, an 18-year-old Somali American, is in custody. Authorities say he tried flying to Turkey that same month but was arrested before his flight. Investigators say he is associated with a 3rd man who is now in Syria fighting with ISIS.
Tonight, the University of Virginia is taking action, starting a zero-tolerance approach towards sexual assault. School board members adopted the policy after a recent Rolling Stone article that details the rape of a student at a fraternity party in 2012. The board also announced the creation of a 3-person team to investigate sex assaults. Protesters have been holding protests at the university in reaction to that article. A new line of activewear is promising to never get stinky.
Strong Body Apparel, as it's called, based in Vancouver, Dagmar's hometown, says if you take a product made from crab and shrimp shells called Cheetah-Sun and put it on their clothes, the product stops the growth of bacteria. The company says once a product is put on clothing, it will keep items smelling fresh, wash after wash.
So you don't smell like shellfish?
I don't know. I know you may smell like fish, but you don't smell like anything else.
Well, there you go. Okay, so a crowdfunding site has suspended, you may not be surprised to hear, a campaign that seeks to draw actual blood while someone is playing a video game. Kickstarter put Bloodsport on hold less than a week after its launch. The game system is connected to a blood collecting machine attached to the player. A feature on the machine is triggered to draw blood from the person when they have been shot in the game.
They think it's hilarious.
There you go.
All right. But here offline, more than 1,000 people showed up to donate for the 36th annual Chargers Blood Drive. A good blood donation.
This makes a lot more sense. Organizers put on the event every year to help to donations that tend to go down during the holidays. The San Diego Blood Bank collected more than 1,200 units of blood, which translates to 1,200 pints of blood. For every pint collected, as many as 3 lives can be saved, so that's a lot. The Chargers even beat last year's record of about 800 units.
Straight ahead on NBC7 News at 11 o'clock, an adventure like you have never heard before.
How a lamb chop sent a group of friends to instant stardom.
There's a bedtime story. Okay, we're going to talk about what's going on outside. We still have the Santa Ana conditions, and of course the red flag warning. How much longer will this last? I'll be back in just a few moments. I've got those details for you. Stick around.
So a group of friends took on a bizarre adventure for the chance to get a picture put on the wall of their favorite restaurant. They took a lamb chop from the restaurant, tied it to a weather balloon with a camera, and then recorded the trip to the edge of space. The GPS tracker on the balloon actually broke, there it goes. But a farmer eventually found the camera 82 miles away. He's the one that returned it to the group. The group won the challenge.
What is that, a big fork?
It does look
so,
like a
right?
big fork. Yeah. And their picture is now on the wall of their favorite restaurant, so mission accomplished. That's pretty cool right there.
Just watch it from the wall. Dagmar, can you do the weather over the pork chop or the lamb chop, if you don't mind?
That pork chop could help you gather information to, you know, put together.
Look at the way GoPro has changed popular culture in our lives.
I prefer the eagle.
Look at that.
Okay, that's
cool.
Pretty
great,
that's
right?
really cool.
That now I'm interested.
And that pork chop
It's
held
dizzy.
up pretty
Lamb chop.
well.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
No, it didn't. It looked mummified. It was
It
awful.
was just breaded or something. It was blackened.
We wouldn't eat it anyway.
No.
Doesn't matter.
It's just up in the stratosphere and outer space and back down.
Why not?
Wow. Okay. So, now we're going to do weather minus the lamb chop. We're going to talk about what's going on outside, which is the Santa Ana conditions that still linger. And so we still have the red flag warning that will be in effect until tomorrow, 6 p.m. We're still seeing clear skies out there. I'm going to zoom you way out to show you something that I'm tracking that is of interest to everyone. It is that system spinning in the eastern Pacific that looks like it might be our next best chance for rain. Again, at the moment, through the next several days, we are still dealing with Santa Ana conditions, so it's going to be warm, it'll be dry. The gusty winds picking up again in the overnight hours, but not nearly as bad as where they were this morning. So that red flag warning, one more time, does continue through 6 p.m. tomorrow. At the moment, this is what we're seeing in terms of where the critical fire weather is at its worst. We still continue to see that in the mountains and in through the deserts and down through the Baja Peninsula. So clear, breezy, dry, mid-50s along the coast tonight, low 40s inland, clear, dry, breezy. Again, not so much windy, although the winds could pick up to maybe some 40-mile-per-hour peak gusts, but that's way better than where we were this morning. The mountains in the low 50s, clear, dry, breezy. The deserts at about 44. Same story, clear and dry and breezy. So the 7-day forecast looks like this. I want you to take some time and look at this. We will continue to see that Santa Ana red flag weather through tomorrow, even Thursday. Once that red flag warning expires tomorrow at 6 p.m., we'll still continue for Thanksgiving Day to see conditions that are hot, that are dry. So it's slowly going to see recovery with the relative humidity. Winds will slowly calm down, and then by Friday we'll maybe start to see a little bit of some of that onshore flow leading to Monday and Tuesday, which might bring us a much needed chance for some rain. Still warm, still dry, still breezy conditions in the mountains, in the deserts through at least Thursday, and then finally, even the mountains and the deserts, you have a chance for rain moving your way Monday through Tuesday. So keep in mind, dangerous fire weather continues through tomorrow, but there's a chance of rain heading our way over the next week.
Okay, thanks, Dagmar.
Mr. Laslovic?
I got to watch basketball tonight, and now I get to tell you about it.
All right.
Well, not right now, because this is just a tease. After this commercial, I'll tell you about the Aztecs and who they play next. It's going to be fun. Sports is next. Well, more fun in Maui at the Maui Classic for the Aztecs. They're good. Ask the Pitt Panthers. Aztecs led by 14 at the break, won by 17. Congratulations to that man, Steve Fisher, his 317th win at San Diego State, the most in school history, won more than George Ziegenfuss, who last coached in 1969. Malik Pope got some more playing time. He understands, that young man does. If you play for the Aztecs, you play defense. Fellow freshman Trey Kell gets the idea too. The steal, the slam. He led the Aztecs with 15 points, 7 of 9 from the floor. So there's no let up in the second half as Winston Shepard ends up with the basketball in the break here. He goes strong to the hoop. He had 13 points, 7 rebounds. This is good stuff. He's playing a pretty good team. So they had trouble scoring in their first couple games. They shot 59% from the floor tonight. 11 different players scored. Real treat tomorrow night. The 15th ranked Aztecs get third-ranked Arizona. Tip-off is at 7 p.m. The finals of the Maui Invitational. So the Wildcats advanced with a 4-point win over K-State. Arizona beat the Aztecs twice last season. They're going to be a handful. Stanley Johnson, 6'7" freshman with a score. He had 14 points. Johnson won 4 Wildcats in double figures. Nice set play to score on the inbounds pass. Rondé Hollis-Jefferson. Like I said, these guys are pretty good too. And oh yeah, they have a 7-footer. Caleb Tarzuski. He led the Wildcats with 18 points. Arizona, like the Aztecs, are 5-0. And keep in mind, as I said, they met twice last season. Arizona won both times. It's going to be fun. Tip-off at 7. Meanwhile, the football team plays its final regular season game Saturday afternoon at the Q. They host 3-8 San Jose State. Can't go to sleep on them. At stake, a 7-win season and a near-certain bowl bid.
A lot of times teams that have things to play for feel pressure and stress, and the teams that don't feel free and easy and going, and they play extremely well, where the team that feels the stress and the need to win doesn't play extremely well. It happens all the time. I just know if we win, we're in. And if we don't win, there's a real good chance we're not in.
Yeah, 6 wins might not get it done to a bowl game. Okay, now we turn things over, I hope, to me. Well, that's always fun. I'll take that. Actually, it was Kyle Palmieri with a great goal for the Anaheim Ducks, who won again tonight 3-2 as they beat Calgary. Thank you, Mike O'Connor in my ear. So they continue to have the best record in the Western Conference. What he did was, and Dagmar, as a former hockey player, you'll appreciate this, he passed the puck to himself, took it off the boards, and then doggedly in pursued the puck and then poked it into the net.
That's a Gretzky move.
I was thinking the same thing.
Done.
Thank you.
Only Wayne.
I feel left out of this conversation. You just like
I think it was better than seeing the
someplace.
highlight. I mean, for sure, I could feel that.
Exactly. Me too. Are we out of time? Already?
No, we still have a little bit of time for the pork chop. Wait, the lamb chop? What is this thing? The chop.
Oh, that's right. We should. We don't have a turkey to show you.